Ready for a great round of SpongeBob funny errors that you probably haven't seen? Well, get comfortable and enjoy the show, because after this video, for sure, you're going to be surprised. Number 1, Sleepy Time, Season 1, Episode 15. What would you do if you had the power of entering other people's dreams? Well, in the show's first season episode, Sleepy Time, SpongeBob travels through his friends' dreams, visiting them and causing a little bit of trouble in pure SpongeBob style. Let's take a look.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, SpongeBob.
You know, Patrick, this is a dream. You can do anything you want.
Yep.
I mean anything. Watch. I can turn into a skyscraper going up.
Now that you know a little more about the episode, let's check a very special scene that happened right when SpongeBob was talking to Patrick. Maybe you didn't notice at first, but when SpongeBob is talking to Patrick, suddenly his chin trespasses his tie and his t-shirt. Strange, right? But that's not everything. Let's take a look at this. When SpongeBob turns into this skyscraper-like creature, his size is not the only thing that changes. Also, his eyes turn a different color. This might have caught you by surprise, but his eyes are light blue for a second, nearly transparent. Time to continue, because those are not the only errors we'll see in this episode.
Ah! Hey, what are y'all doing in your pajamas? Are we having a slumber party?
No, we are not having a slumber party.
Do us all a favor, SpongeBob, and stay out of our dreams.
Did you notice what happened when everybody was talking to SpongeBob in his bed? Let's watch it again. When Pearl is in the room, suddenly there's a frame where Pearl is missing both her nightcap and her hair all at once. Maybe SpongeBob's adventure in his friend's dreams is not the weirdest thing in this episode. Number 2, SB 129, Season 1, Episode 14. Ready to do some time travel? If you are, SB 129 is the episode for you. This episode might be one of the most famous in all series history, but this doesn't save him from having some goofy errors. Let's take a brief look to see what we can find.
Autumn, and it is about time for Squidward to practice his clarinet. So get your earplugs ready.
I think I'll treat Bikini Bottom to some real music.
Did you notice anything wrong here? Well, this might be a slow one to start with, but when SpongeBob's house is shown for the first time, it only has one window. Somebody was messing with Bob's house for sure, but let's move to a funnier and more impressive one. Time machines are for sure strange devices, but when Squidward first enters the cabin, the top part of the machine says future and the bottom part says past. But when he's running away from the prehistoric version of our protagonists, the signs have changed their position. We're not experts on time traveling, but for sure this is something strange. Number 3, Life Crustacean, Season 3, Episode 55B. Have you ever thought of having a night out with your boss? Well, in Life Crustacean, SpongeBob decided to have some fun and visit Bikini Bottom's nightlife with Mr. Krabs. But the night is not the most important thing in this episode, and as we are here for, let's look for some errors.
Next.
I'm sure that you didn't get it the first time, so pay attention to your ears and hear if something unusual happens. Usually, one of the most recurring gags of the series is the bubble sound that many times we're able to hear when a scene transitions to a newer one. Well, this time we heard the sound, but there are no bubbles. Such a small and funny error to see, but this is not the only error we find in this episode. Now let's take a look at a more intimate one.
Frilly things! We hit the jackpot!
Oh yeah, Mr. Krabs!
Woo-hoo! You finally came through for me, boys!
Have you found something weird? When Mr. Krabs first shows his panties, they have one shape, but when he shows them to Patrick and SpongeBob, suddenly they've become boxers. This for sure is a strange error to witness, but yet a pretty funny one. Number 4, Fear of a Krabby Patty, Season 4, Episode 61A. We all know that SpongeBob is a really hard worker, right? Well, too much work can cause trouble, and this episode is a great example of that. In this magnificent episode, the Krusty Krab is open for 24 hours straight, causing SpongeBob to become crazy during this never-ending working day. This does not only affect SpongeBob because this madness brings some animation errors with it.
Kick it into high gear! We got a big order! Make me 10,000 patties! And no brakes!
Pretty sure you didn't notice that something was happening with the door, didn't you? Well, if you look at it closely, when Mr. Krabs enters the kitchen for the first time, the door opens in one direction, and just a couple moments later, the door is opened, but in the completely opposite direction. But SpongeBob is not the only one with problems in this episode. Let's check this.
What the flim-flam?
If you look closely, Squidward's hat is missing the characteristic anchor of the Krusty Krab. This is sad because this emblem is what makes Bikini Bottom's best restaurant so iconic. But also, it is clear that working that many hours can cause very big trouble for everyone. Number 5, Escape from Beneath Glove World, Season 12, Episode 266. Glove World is one of the funniest places you can find while visiting Bikini Bottom, but for sure, it's not the best one to get jailed on. The first part of the episode leads us to the first mistake that we were able to find. At the start of the episode, we see that the theater is painted purple, but at the end of the episode, the same building has a brownish color. What a way to start the episode, don't you think? This is not the only marvelous thing that Glove World tricks us with. There's also one very cute moment in the episode that we can consider as an animation error. Let's take a look. Number 6, Squidward Sick Daze, Season 13, Episode 269. We talked about working too many hours while analyzing the last episode, but what can happen if you pretend to be sick to skip work? Well, Squidward Sick Daze might have that answer. In this episode, Squidward fakes being ill so he doesn't attend work at the Krusty Krab. What he didn't expect is that, as a measure of not being fooled, Mr. Krabs sends SpongeBob to Squidward's house to take care of him, making his day a little bit chaotic. Let's take a look.
My uneaten strudel. My strudel!
Just tasted like pie to me.
It's a strudel, you barbarian. Just look at those pastry layers.
Well, here is where the first error of this episode can be found. Were you able to see it? When Patrick visits Squidward's house and goes through the window, there's a moment where suddenly his eyes disappear for a second while stealing Patrick's strudel. But hey, we know that everything usually goes south for Squidward, so let's keep watching.
Oh, yeah! Done.
In my imagination, you're a helpless little baby. Gee, you're sicker than I thought.
Did you notice something strange in Squidward's painting? Well, if you take a closer look, SpongeBob's arm has the same color as Squidward's skin in this painting. We all know Squidward's talent as an artist, but this time he wasn't too inspired. Number 7, Farmer Bob, Season 12, Episode 242. Have you ever dreamed of SpongeBob becoming a farmer? Well, if you've done so, Farmer Bob is your episode. In this adventure, both Patrick and SpongeBob decide to spend a day on Old Man Jenkins' farm to experience a new lifestyle. Let's enjoy some moments from the episode. But you know what? Life is not easy on the farm, and for sure, this comes with some animation errors. And boy, we have found a very special one. Maybe you didn't notice it, but when SpongeBob is playing baseball with both Patrick and the farm's house, his eyes disappear for a split second while he's throwing the ball at Patrick. For sure, SpongeBob will be a great pitcher if he can throw balls without looking or losing his eyes. Number 8, Accidents Will Happen, Season 8, Episode 153. Squidward has a tendency for having bad luck during most of SpongeBob's adventures, and, well, the episode Accidents Will Happen is the best example of that. In this episode, Squidward gets injured while working at the Krusty Krab, and this forces Mr. Krabs to take care of him so he can avoid even more problems at his establishment. But let's take a look at which animation errors this episode brings with it.
Anything I can do, Inspector.
So, this is where the accident occurred.
While watching this, we found that something strange happened in the scene of Squidward's accident. Please take a look at the painting that is used to represent Squidward on the floor. Well, some octopuses have 8 legs, but in this painting it only has 2 of them. How funny this is! Also, if we take a look at the last moments of the episode, when Squidward is shouting inside the Krusty Krab, the camera starts to zoom out from the restaurant. But when the camera reaches the outside of the Krusty Krab, nobody is seen inside it. Everyone has magically disappeared. There you have it. These are 8 animation errors that you can find in SpongeBob SquarePants. For more SpongeBob-related content, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to our channel so we can show you even funnier content. Until the next time, goodbye!